Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. So, playoff beard coming in. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this beard grow and grow and grow. And like somebody said, if the Jets win the Super Bowl, are you going to shave? No. And that means it could get really obnoxious. And I'm excited about the prospects of having a huge beard. So today's Friday, and obviously there will be no show on Monday, so you're going to have to use this show to get you through. Maybe go back to some old episodes and catch up. But obviously I want to, it's a good time to wish everybody a wonderful holiday, a healthy one most importantly, because if you don't have that, you have nothing at all. So Fridays, obviously I am taking a bloodbath in the Wine Library TV forums. Basically everybody's saying is, what happened to the questions of the, the questions and answer part of the show? Everybody's saying the show stinks now because we don't have questions. So now I'm going to do that. That was, if you remember a couple episodes back, that was the theme of Friday, an opportunity for me to really catch up. So let me once again let you all know this is what I'm looking to do. Because I'm getting pounded with emails and the comments, the only place I'm going to take the questions for the Friday shows are from the Ask section. And I know, here it comes, everybody's going to say, why don't you integrate it into the forums or integrate it somewhere else? It's just what I want. Can you throw me a bone? So we're going to do that. We're about to taste a wonderful wine. And what I'm going to do on Fridays as well is I'm going to treat myself for all the hard work I do. And I'm going to try to show you wines that have really spurred my interest, things that I'm really excited about in the last couple of weeks, months, days, hours. And so today's wine, let's get right into that part of it, I'm extremely ecstatic about. As a matter of fact, I believe that 2007 is the year for Portuguese red wines. I think Portugal is on the cusp of really making a major impact into the U.S. market. What I have in front of me is the Valmeo 2004 Meandro, which is an unbelievable blend of grapes from the Portuguese area that, are common to Douro, which is Touriga Nacional 30%, Touriga Franca 30%, Tinto Roriz 30%, and 5% of two other indigenous grapes from the area. And really, the first three grapes I mentioned are really, especially the Tinto Roriz and the Nacional, Touriga Nacional, are going to be the grapes that everybody's going to be seeking out from Portugal. This wine is $18 US retail and was scored 92 points by the Wine Spectator. So great dollar ratio score. And right off the bat, I'm going to get into this a little bit, and we've been carrying this prior to the press, but the color is fantastic. Really dark. These wines really bring, in my opinion, from Portugal, the best of the old world and the new world. They've got tremendous vineyards. I think I'm positive about this. And you know how much I love that video captures everything. I can't wait to rewind this years from now. I think the Douro is going to be right up there with Napa Valley. How about that? And I really do. I think they're going to be really, really major players in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And so I'm really excited about that. And we're gonna get into this wine very deeply, because that's what gives us a chance on Fridays to really scope and dissect a wine. And that's kind of fun sometimes as well. So let's get into some of the questions. And before I do that, I really want to talk about a couple things. Number one, SS Chris has not been updating his spreadsheet up there. I'm not sure why, but I'm pretty sad about it. And I really, 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 really hope he jumps in and takes care of that. Also, huge Vaniac party in Hoboken, New Jersey yesterday. I was unable to make it. I apologize. I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful time. So, for you, Eugene, and for you, ML, and for everybody else who's emailed me about doing questions, let's get it going. Adrian asks, how do flavors infuse into wine? My question is simple. Do winemakers at the time of production add things like blackberry, black cherry, chocolate, or black white pepper to the grapes at a certain point? How are these flavors ever present in the wine, if not? Adrian, really great question. A lot of people ask this, especially when they're first getting into wine. The flavors are there, and the flavors that we're talking about are always extremely subtle. Once in a while they come through dramatically, but they're normally extremely subtle. And the wine flavors come from the terroir. And they really come from the ground. And from the ground, they pick up all these small, exotic aspects. It's what we all love about wine. Sometimes it's the oak that people are using when aging the wine. But for the most part, without cheating, they're coming from the terroir. So that's the first question. Now, let's get right into this. Really dark. The nose is extraordinary. It really has an extreme black licorice nose. very dark. I mean, like Darth Vader dark, on the nose. And, people always say to me, how do you say dark or how do you say pitch black on the nose? I don't know, just you know what I mean? I mean, there's a way sometimes that colors describe a nose better than something besides colors. Anyway, really dark. There's really nice floral aspects to this wine as well. I'm getting a couple of, nice dried potpourri rose petal on the nose as well. The flavor on the nose is spectacular. Little hints of cinnamon sprinkled on the finish of the nose, and the nose is just super. And again, here's why I believe this country and this area, and this is one of the great producers from the area, have a chance to really come into the U.S. market strong. There's a lot of flavor profile, a lot of strawberries, some dark cherries, but boom, I mean, huge tannins on the back. This wine will age for a long, long time. Lots of complex fruit on the back to end, really dark cassis, little hints of chocolate coming through. So there's a lot of New World explosion, but very old world structure. It's not a fruit bomb. It's very complete. The mid palate is pure. The tannins are sharp. It's a really strong wine. Gets really, really into the finish. And then the flavors come through very heavily. A little hint of heat because there's a lot of alcohol complexity on this. Alcohol content is 14.5. It's structured, but it goes away quickly and then just moves on to a nice finish. A little bit of green asparagus on that finish, but integrated and just velvet on the aspect on your palate. Just really strong. This is an extremely well-made wine. The kind of wine that pleases everybody, in my opinion. It does need to be put away. I mean, this wine could last for 15 years, in my opinion, easily at this standpoint. But it's going to develop and really, really open up. I mean, this is really nice. Yeah. Matthew L. Quality of wine in splits or magnums, same or worse? Gary has reviewed a couple of wines from splits, most recently the Cru Grand Cuvée. I was curious if the quality of the wine in splits is any different than the juice inside of a 750. Same goes for magnums. Great question, again. Really, the quality is exactly the same. They just go through a different bottling. But there is something different about mags, half bottles, and 750s. Aging potential. Magnums, 3 liters, 6 liters, all age slower. And so they allow you to put in your cellar. That's why a lot of collectors love magnums and 3 liters, because you can put the wine away. You can almost add from a magnum another 5 years compared to 750. They mature quicker in a smaller space, less wine, and it just moves. And the same thing for half bottles. Half bottles would be able to be drank even sooner than a 750. So the quality of juice is the same. Maturity and the way it cellars in your cellar is different. Let's move on. Wino says, Gary, descriptions on a wine list. I'm putting together a new wine list in my place, and one of the wine purveyors who's printing it for me suggests descriptions. They have 15 to 20 and 30-word descriptions that they were going to print out on the wine producer. Do you think descriptions on a wine list are needed, or should I list them in order of weight, region, country, and varietal? Wino, great question. I appreciate you asking me something like that. I'm humbled by that question. The reality is, this is my opinion on it. You need to know your consumer. You need to know the people that are walking into your restaurant. So you have a better pulse and vibe about the people you're serving than the people that are printing your list. The people printing your list have the agenda of their products and wanting to sell you, their products. You need to know what your people that are walking through the door want. If you feel that your wine clientele is a little bit more beginner level, I think descriptions are great. Even if they're a little bit more advanced, they're probably great. Information and content is always king. So a nice description could be a nice way to go. I'd probably go with a description. I think the name by itself is kind of like the classic way to do it, but I think a description is a nice way to kind of steer your consumer in the right direction. As long as the descriptions come from the heart. And maybe what would be a great idea is for you to taste all the wines and give your description, so that your patrons of your place can have a little feel for what you like and what you're all about. That's what it's all about. Anyway, let's move on. Grasshopper says, wondering why the tasting notes are not being added to Chris Denisi's spreadsheet. The past 4 episodes are missing. This is a great feature. Oh, excuse me. Is this great feature going to continue? I really like the spreadsheet. It's a great reference tool. Grasshopper, I agree. I don't know what Chris is doing, but he's clearly not happy with the Vaniacs, the Vayner Nation, Wine Library TV. I'm not sure. Might be very busy from the holidays, but hopefully he will get back on the saddle and take care of that. If not, I will jump in sooner than later. Let's taste this wine again, because we're having fun with it. Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very complex wine. Very young. I mean, this wine's been open for about 4 hours. We're late today. And I would tell you that it can definitely use another 6 or 7 to get some of the rough edges out. I mean, it's a monster. Completely dries my palate, but I love it. I mean, this is really structured. I'm going to score this wine 91 points. I think it's well worth that. And at $18, that's a screaming value to me. I think Spectator nailed it. Kudos to the Wine Spectator for scoring more Portuguese wines this year, because they're definitely giving it some attention, and I honestly agree with them wholeheartedly. I just think that's going to be a big, big thing. Adam says, what do the numbers on the whiteboard behind Gary stand for? Adam, I don't see any numbers. I just see a prediction. That's right. Jets 24, Dirty Fish, Zippo, Beard, Fuller. Let's move on. Russ Leonard says, are Aussie Zinfandels better than U.S. Zinfandels? Our friends at the OZ Wine Show, Aussie Wine Show, commented in their July podcast that Australia had won the International Zinfandel Trophy, beating out the U.S. at the International Wine Challenge in London, September 2005. Russ, that's really like saying, you know, are all ethnic group this, or all ethnic group that, or all, you know, obviously that's a very broad statement. Zinfandels that I've tasted, and I've tasted about 5 to 50 of them. That's a pretty wide range, isn't it, Eric? I've probably had about, let's give it a real assessment, 30 to 40 Zinfandels from Australia. And what I can tell you, especially the ones from Barossa, really are monster New World fruit bombs. And so are so many of the American versions as well, but even more so muted fruit from Australia. I find them to be much more fruity than the California versions, which tend to be a little bit more peppery. So what it comes down to is we're definitely not going to generalize. There's individual producers. I mean, I could think of, there's some really, Rusden makes an unbelievable red Zinfandel that I would put up with anything. But I've had plenty of others that I've not been happy with in any shape or form. Same thing in California. I mean, some of the ones that everybody goes crazy with, Turley and Martinelli, those are over the top and not for everybody, and definitely not food and wine pairings. Whereas, you know, green and red and others are. So there's a lot of different kinds of Zinfandels. I'm going to wrap up this question because I'm going all over the place. To answer your question, no. No, not all Aussie Zins are better than U.S. Zins. Brandon M. asks, can you taste Costa Brown? Can you get a hold of any? Can I taste Costa Brown? I can. Can I get a hold of any? We can, but we sell it in about 3.3 seconds. If I send you one, will you taste it? Absolutely, Brandon M. I would love to see you debunk some of the California Pinot myths of only being New World fruit wines. I agree. Send it over. I'd love to taste it. I'd love to taste it. You know, it's funny. We're getting through the end of the year part. I'm really looking forward to next week. We're starting to calm down. Today is insane. Tomorrow's going to be bonkers. And then we'll start tailing off, really focusing on champagne in the store. So I'm going to be able to get back to my main routine, hopefully answer all your emails. Please, if you want to have questions answered on the show, go to the Ask section. It's also interactive. If you're a great guy or gal and you want to be a helper, you can answer a lot of questions. There's still a bunch up there that have not been answered. Join the forums. Keep doing what you're doing. If nothing else, as we're wrapping up 06, I just want to reiterate one thing. What have we learned? If nothing else, trust your own palate. I really want to tell you something I told somebody yesterday that really hit home. I said to the person, they said, but this person's an expert. Would you allow somebody to tell you how to cook your burger? That's what I told this person. And what I saw happen to their face made me feel good. It really hit them hard. They said, no, I like it medium rare and that's it. And I said, even if the burger expert said to you that the best way to eat it was rare, no, that's the way I like it. That's the funny thing. People won't listen to other people in so many magnitudes. Food, I mean, does people force you what to eat? If you don't like popcorn, you're not going to eat it. If you don't like foie gras, you're not going to eat it. I mean, I love escargot. I can't get anybody in my family to eat those darn snails. But the reality is when it comes to wine, if I said, ooh, this is good, everybody piles up and tastes it. It's a very funny thing. Trust your own palate. It's the way to go. Today's question of the day is, what's the Jets-Dolphins score? I want to see them all. I want to see them all. I'm pumped up. Have a great, great holiday. Thank you for everything this year. I am obnoxiously humbled. You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, aren't we?